Hey y'all, before we get rolling, if you run a nonprofit, this is for you. Comfy Stone just released a free 90-day donor retention checklist to help you keep more donors through authentic storytelling. Get your copy at comfystone.com/checklist or click the link in our show notes. Now let's dive into this week's episode. Missions by
Hey y'all, welcome back to Missions by You. I'm Brenna Gorjo here with my co-host Maya McGee, and we're in the studio with Jonshell Johnson and Tanae. Jonshell is the education coordinator and Tanae is the youth assistant crew leader at Grow Dat Youth Farm. Grow Dat is an organization that brings young people together to create a more just and sustainable food system. Welcome to Missions by You, y'all. We're so happy to have you.
I'm absolutely excited.
Glad to be here.
Thanks. So can you start off by telling me what is Grow Dat and what programming do you guys offer?
Grow Dat Youth Farm is a 7-acre farm located in City Park. Our mission is to nurture a diverse group of young leaders through the meaningful work of growing food. So we're a farm, and at the same time, we are having hundreds of critical conversations with young people. And the job training is Grow Dat, like working at Grow Dat as a young person is a job. So the job training for young people that we offer at the farm happens every year. So we hire young people starting in January, and then they stay with us for a leadership program until the month of May. And then we also have a summer program in the month of June. And what we hope to accomplish in that time is, one, definitely getting to know the young people more extensively and deeply, because getting to know young people helps us as adults be able to support them in whatever they want to do after they finish working at the farm. So during the leadership programming, which is usually young people's first time at the farm, they're able to definitely participate in farm work and see the farm really change over time and see it change through their hands. And they're also able to participate in workshops, leading workshops, deepening their learning about the environment, about each other, about community, and food justice.
What training and feedback do you give the youth both in the field and the workshops?
Yeah, so a day in the life at Grow Dat Youth Farm looks like when they arrive, we always have a circle together. So we do a game, we do some type of get to know you activity, and we also try to just loosen up before we do hard work together. So working in the fields could look like a range of things. So whether it's weeding, seeding, transplanting, bumping up, just plant identification, asking young people what they see around the farm and what kind of trees are here that might be around your neighborhood. And after we do those tasks, we try to debrief and talk about it. So what was hard for you? What was easy for you? Would you do it again? Trying to encourage young people to do what they're doing at the farm at home in a more garden setting. Gotcha. So not everybody has a farm when they go home. So our time together in the fields is time that some young people don't get with their hands in the soil. And then after we do a task together on the farm, so especially after a season, we can harvest. So on Saturdays, we eat together. We try to use the produce from the farm in the food. We try to make sure that we're finding recipes together in order for young people to feel prepared to use the food again. And for all of us, eating together is something that is also a vehicle to start conversation. So after you do a task together and then you sit down and you're enjoying a meal together, it opens everyone up to talk about their day, talk about themselves. And in the afternoon, we are doing workshop settings where we're talking about a range of topics. It can be from environmental crisis to workers' rights to how to fill out a resume. So, yeah.
I think that informal space to all be together eating, sharing a meal, I think that also is probably super beneficial because that thing you might have not been able to ask while you guys were working, you can sit down in a more relaxed setting. And for the youth in the program, I feel like that's a great opportunity for them.
I'm also really impressed to hear that during these workshops, you guys are talking about workers' rights as their first job. My first job was in the service industry. No one was talking to me about workers' rights. And there's such a storied history of workers' rights coming from the agricultural space. I mean, Cesar Chavez and the civil rights movement was built on workers' rights in agriculture. So that's incredible that you guys are carrying on the history very practically, very, very young.
Yeah, absolutely. The whole point is that this conversation can continue to happen sooner in people's lives, especially for young people here in New Orleans, where we're in the crux of climate crisis. So if we're losing so much land, and if so many people are like in jeopardy of like losing their home, and New Orleans is like on the end of the map when we look at, where we are, and surrounded by water. So something that really motivates me when I'm like speaking with young people is New Orleans is as much my home as it is theirs. And like we have to do something in order to make sure it can stay here and to make sure that we can stay here as well. So a lot of young people may feel like, hey, if New Orleans is sinking or if the streets don't get better or if things around me don't get better, then I should leave. And the love of land for me is also loving and like studying what has happened. So history is a big part of what we're talking about at Grow Dat, which is we have to understand what has happened here in order to make the right solutions together. So instead of making a society where things only benefit certain people, if we think together and like listen to each other's stories and also look at history and see where injustice has happened, then we can be able to build a more just society together.
Yeah. That is the crux of living here sometimes. It's like balancing, should I stay or should I go? That's always a question. And it becomes an elephant in the room. So to just address it and talk about the elephant, that's key to staying, I think.
Yeah, and I hope that it encourages young people to stay, right? Because like that's what we need is for people to be like re-energized and be like, all right, you're right. Like it's got its plus and minuses, but I want to stay here anyway. And the history and like learning more about how you live in this city and try to make it better is how we all survive.
Right, exactly. So why does Grow Dat emphasize the importance of thinking about society's relationship to food and teaching an anti-oppression model? How are those two related to you guys?
Yeah. And I mean, if you definitely have an answer to this question as well, I'm going to just say my little piece and then...
Yeah, I would love to hear.
I
I would love to hear your perspective on that too.
So learning about the food system is also like very unique to New Orleans because New Orleans is known so much for food. And especially in the neighborhood that I grew up in, there wasn't a grocery store that was close. And then I didn't know that was a part of like a food desert, or like later learning to call it food apartheid, which is something that is like strategic and planned. And as a young person, looking at how I ate growing up and like why I ate the way that I did and why do I like cherish some of the recipes that my family has cooked for a long time. Looking at the food system as a whole and like thinking about who is benefiting and who is not, and like why certain classes of folks have different access to fresher food. Trying to find a solution to that is something that we're doing at the farm, which is okay. Everybody deserves fresh, healthy, affordable food, and one powerful thing that we can do together is grow it. Growing food helps us to curb the cost. Growing food helps us to know exactly what's in our food. And just being able to be outside and like hands in the soil is also something that's very healing. So the more we're able to do that, especially in a city where there's not a lot of green space, the more able we're actually like, the more we can actually feed people. So whether I'm only growing a small amount of things at my house, what I found with a lot of gardening and farming is you always end up having some type of abundance. So you can give away, even if you don't have a lot. And seeds are actually not that expensive. So when I go to the grocery store and an item is $8 versus when I buy a 50-cent seed and then I'm able to make so much more food, thinking about the food system in that way, and also about like what kind of labor does it take? What kind of access to land does that take? And valuing people on that and like really advocating for change in those areas is something that we're always talking about at the farm, which is how we work here and how we are able to talk to each other and how we're able to have breaks and how we're asking everyone to like show up in their best selves and we're like providing support is not what it looks like on other farms. So what we're doing at the farm is already like that step towards change because we're equipping young people to be able to be like, hey, like this is how this should be. if they don't see it. So then they are able to actually be agents of change wherever they go, whether it's on a different field or if it's in a whole different area of career expertise. So that's how those things are related to me, which is thinking about like climate change, thinking about food apartheid, and what we're actually doing on the farm to like practice how we want to be in society together. It's like how those things are connected to me.
Well, for me, what I would say is like I didn't really know how important food was until I really got to Grow Dat. Like I know we need food to survive, and I know food is like good to eat, but I didn't really like know how much food can impact others and like also bring people together till I got to Grow Dat. One of the first things Grow Dat taught us or like talked to us about is like what kind of food do you eat in your family, or what kind of food is typically accessible to your family, or like how far is the nearest grocery store, or like what kind of do you get fresh produce, or is it more like factory food? And we talked about that, and it made me realize that we don't really all have like Jonshell said, the same access to food, or I guess kind of why like some people diets are like poorer than others, like they're don't have as much nutrients as other people do. And Grow Dat not only did they educate us about it, but they also talked about how we're going to try to change that. Like we grow food, we don't grow, we give away, or we go work on some other forms, like piece by piece. That's another form that we worked on. Well, not form, but like another like area of land that's also trying to do what we doing. And we worked over there, and like sometimes I think we like transplanted, we like weeded, and we just cleaned up the area. And sometimes they'll like give away food that we don't sell or that we don't use, or if they have too much after food of CSA, they give it to us, which is also kind of like great to me in a way. And also I feel like plants feed off energy, and if it's like we planted the plants and like it's with love and care, like we're laughing while we're transplanting or weeding, I feel like that also gets into the food as well, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just feel like it's just a way of like giving back and creating a positive cycle in a way.
Yeah, and I think oppression lives when like people don't talk to each other. And our biggest thing at the farm is constant communication. So as much as, like we have folks who are like great at working hard in the fields and like getting dirty, we also like really try to emphasize that like working across difference means the most to us. And like getting to know people who you probably would have never met before if you were to stay in your bubble. Being open to new ideas, even if they're not for you, is a part of like something that we're hoping to like set young people up to like really be successful in the future, which is like be open to others, be listening, share your story, and like make connections, meaningful connections across all of those differences, because that's where we can really make solutions for everyone, and not just and not only in our group or our circle. So like community can really be a lot broader. And I think like when we're going to school, our community is like who we're in school with, versus like when we're like in the workforce and like we're meeting so many different people and not knowing exactly what to say or what to ask. So at the farm, we're trying to practice undoing oppression looks like asking folks who they are, and helping everyone like with all of the different issues that are happening in their life, so that they don't feel like so many issues are happening and like there's no solutions happening as well.
And you lose your autonomy. You lose your say in what's happening if you don't have a network of people, or if you don't know how to use your voice. Yeah. Tanae, we have a couple of questions for you.
Hey.
So how did you get involved with Grow Dat?
Oh, okay. So this is kind of crazy. So one time I was with the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council, and they actually had a thing at Grow Dat, but at this time I was 14, and I was seeing the kids like grow food and like cook food, and I was so invested because like I'm into like biology and like the study of life and plants. I was just so invested. I was like, oh my God, I like to do this program. But Sarah told me, you're too young, Tony. You have to be like 15. And then I wound up missing it for like when I turned 15. But when I became 16, I did it, and I got in, and I stuck with it.
Nice.
And I'm happy that I did it.
Yeah.
Can you tell me more about your role as youth assistant crew leader?
Yeah, basically I'm an ACL assistant crew leader, and my job is to educate my peers, because I don't know, it feels like it's not feel like a big role, but it makes me feel like it's a big role in a way, because I'm also educating my peers who are the same age as me about things that Grow Dat has taught me, and also letting them understand like about sustainable agriculture, or like how to plant, or like how to, like, I didn't even know all the tricks to like soil. Like I didn't know that like you can have bad soil, or that you need plants to put the nitrogen back in the soil to make the soil healthy, or like soil with the pH balance. I didn't know that soil had all that. So basically I'm taking all my knowledge that I got and also passing it on to them, and also like certain skills that I got through Grow Dat, like social skills, communicating skills, or like just a growth in patience, or knowing how to work with people from different backgrounds, and like just how to keep things in mind when talking to other people. I'm also like teaching them about things like that, because we're all different and we all come from different backgrounds.
I like that y'all keep mentioning like different backgrounds, because you said something well, first you mentioned like where you grew up, kind of being in a food desert, and then how like you didn't know the importance of food. And I've recently, I guess not recently, but probably like 6 years ago, met somebody who worked in the school system, and then they started telling me the importance of like what happens to kids who don't eat balanced meals, and how like it doesn't matter what teacher you have, what's going on in the school. Like if a kid is coming to class and they aren't being fed properly, even the best school, like they're still gonna fall behind. Like how important nutrition is from the beginning, like that. And I love that that's kind of what Grow Dat's doing, is like all these different people who, some people have access to a lot of great foods, and some people who might not have access to all these different fruits and vegetables, or food, is coming to one place so that you get to teach each other also. Real quick, guys, did you know it can cost up to 7 times more to find a new donor than to keep one you already have? That's why at Comfy Stone, we created a free 90-day donor retention checklist. It's simple, step-by-step guide that shows you exactly what to do after someone donates. From how to thank them to how to tell stories that keep them engaged and giving all year long. You can grab your free copy at comfystone.com/checklist, or click the link in our show notes. All right, let's get back to the show.
Yeah, and with that different background, is anyone like, are we discovering new vegetables at Grow Dat that like people have never seen or eaten before?
Actually, yes. We are like, I know they had like different kale, but I didn't know they had like dino kale. I didn't know they had like regular kale. And also, what else? Shards, color shards. I didn't even know they had that. I didn't even know they had purple, what is it, mustards? I didn't even know that was a thing. And I made, purple's my favorite color, and I made purple pasta without dyeing anything. So Grow Dat introduced me into a lot of stuff. And I also, and it's not like that knowledge stays on a farm. I also take that to my siblings and my parents and my community. So like I kind of take a piece of Grow Dat with me.
That's sweet. Yeah, because I'm sure when you get home, you get to share your purple shard with everybody at home.
Yes, like they love it.
Yeah.
They do. I be like, one time Grow Dat, you know, because they'll like give food and they'll be like, hey, you could take more, like there's extra. And that was the day we had cabbage, and they had 2 heads of cabbage and some kale left, and I made it at home and I just gave it out to the block, and they liked it. It was good.
Yum.
It was good. It was great.
Have your cooking skills gotten better?
Yes, it has.
Nice.
It has.
I love that. Getting experimental with it.
Then it's with the things that I picked and I grew. It just feels even better, like a reward.
Yeah, that is so sweet. It is something special when you plant the seed, watch it grow, pick it out of the ground, put it in the pan, season it, and then eat it. It does taste better.
It does.
Yeah, and I think for me, it's continuing to still be a growth area for me to like cook with less meat. And like not rely on meat for like flavor, and like to really find that in like different types of plants and like the different preparations that you can do with plants. So like the recipes that we use at Grow Dat, we're like trying to use everything on the farm, and we don't have animals at the farm. So it's like, okay, well, we have to make everything veggie because that's all we have. And finding the recipes that I really like has been something that really like helps me think about like what I'm doing is healing, because I've definitely like experienced like folks in my family who like suffer with different chronic illnesses just because of like so much salt, so much sugar, so much, you know, like things that you would find at a corner store that it would be the most convenient. And at the same time, after years and years and years and years, turned into these like critical medical problems. So I try to undo some of the like, I guess, what I'm used to eating, especially at the farm, especially with young people who like when I think about myself 10 years ago, I'm like, I would have probably been resistant to a zucchini, something, you know? So instead, like thinking, okay, like try on. Let's, you know, like, let me be open. If I don't like it, I don't have to. At the same time, maybe it just isn't the recipe that I want. Maybe it's something else. Maybe I don't like it baked. Maybe it's a texture thing. Maybe I want it fried, or pan fried or whatever. So I for me, undoing some of the like eating habits at the farm has been something that I still do to this day, and something that I always am encouraging young people around me to do, which is, no, I didn't grow up with eggplant and squash and zucchini like in my house. And at the same time, after trying on so many different recipes, I've definitely found a few that I like.
Yeah.
So if this isn't the recipe for you, then let's try it a different way. Because you know, thinking back to some of our workshops, if we waste it, then what? Like if you didn't like it, then give it away.
Yeah. Is there a favorite project you've worked on with Grow Dat?
Because we do a lot of projects. I promise we do a lot of projects. I started a project on, like, this was, like, when I was still, like, a crew member. But I wound up missing my summer term, so I didn't get to finish it. But one of my projects was how to, like, you know how they have, like, I know they already have this, like, fridge boxes. Like, you know how you get, like, a book. But I want to do that with food. But, like, I didn't really want it to be too big. I was thinking more of, like, something small where you could just put seeds in there.
That's cute. Yeah.
Seeds instead of the food. Yeah.
I don't know what you mean. We don't know what
a fridge box. So
Yeah.
basically, it's like community fridge boxes where like it'll just be like they have on the sign like, oh, take some, or like you put some in there, like feel free to help yourself, and they have all kind of food in there, like non-perishable fruits. But some of them they do be cold. There's like some that
Yeah,
make
and I
them
think
like
some
electric.
are like kind of curated, because isn't it like what you need to like make a pot, like a pasta night, something like that. So like you have a red sauce and a pasta. But like, yeah, so I guess the seed box would kind of be like what maybe natural, not natural, native plants, or like a simple veggie seeds.
Oh, cool.
Something like that.
Oh, that's awesome. Do you have a favorite project that's been done?
Well, projects is kind of like my little initiative of young people that I host at the farm. So in the seed project, I have about 11 alumni young people, just like Tone, who come back to the farm, and they already had the experience with a leadership program, and then they're like using what they learned in order to like create topics of things that they want. So particularly this year, they're working on beekeeping and like how to harvest honey, how to get to know the bees. What does it mean, you know, like for like people who aren't as comfortable with insects, in order to like respect bees. Another initiative is young folks who want to like make natural scents, perfumes, and that's been one that's been popular since a lot of people can
really
go far with like creating their own like
Yeah.
natural products in whatever medium it is. But like this year, they particularly want to do perfume. And then the third group of folks, they're doing a food pantry. So they literally are like activated about like what has been going on with ICE. And they are like, hey, you know, like we want to feed people, and like here at Grow Dat, we like have this model where we're like selling the food, but where's our little library, so where we can like get people to bring food to us, and we like just distribute that food too, and like practicing doing that. Not that it's not happening all over New Orleans, but like the project is to be able to do it yourself. So they have the pantry, they have the food, and they're giving it away. And those like initiatives this year, I've been doing seed for the past like 3 or 4 years. And like, even though they changed, all the young people after that first year of Grow Dat end up coming back so excited to like really just hone in on something. So from all of the projects that I've seen over the years, I am constantly impressed by young people who are like, there's this very real issue that's going on right now. Or there's this understanding that people aren't getting. And we want to be the ones to like host a workshop. We want to be the ones to like create the vehicle for people to use. We want to go into the community and like show up for folks. So those have been like, there have been so many that like really impact me. And I think particularly as like going to the future, keeping up with like what's going on currently, keeping young people in the loop about like what's going on around them, especially in the city of New Orleans. It just is opening my own eyes to like eventually these young people are going to be running the city. So I'm just glad that there are that they're thinking as deeply as they are every time they're thinking about, okay, well, what are the solutions? And the projects are supposed to be the practice for those solutions.
Right.
I just have to take a moment because I would love to have a signature scent from a Grow Dat Farm youth. Like, just be like, you like my scent? Thank you.
Yeah.
It's custom from Grow
It's
Dat.
bespoke, actually. Yeah, I'll be gatekeeping that. Sorry. You can't really let me have that, actually, because I won't tell anyone, and it'll just be my secret. Is there something that you would like to see Grow Dat focus more on?
I would like to see Grow Dat focus more on, because we do focus on a lot. No, I would like to see Grow Dat focus more on like things that happen in other places. Like we focus on it, but like, I'm sorry, I gotta tie this to Liliana every time. It was one time Liliana, she made like this little workshop, and it was about her parents and like the stuff they went through, like how it was unsafe for them to go to school, or how, it's like so many struggles that they have. That in my head, it was like, dang, I can't realize going through this. Like, that's something that not even the homeless person will ever have to worry about going through, like having to feel scared to go to school. Because, like, there's, like, people, like, trying to hurt you or, like, people kidnapping you. Like, I know there's a lot of that, but not as bad as it is in other places. So I don't really realize, like, dang, it's, like, it's not never as bad as you may think it is. So it's, like, I want to know more about what's going on in other places. Like, I feel like that's really important. And I feel like that can also benefit us in a way, because like that made me just be even more grateful. Like I feel like it could really, like, we can benefit from knowing about other people's struggles, or like, because they really struggle with things you will never even think.
Yeah, you don't.
And I think that that's a really important factor to take into like accountability. And I wish we would focus on that a bit more.
Is Liliana another crew leader or crew
She
worker?
was a crew leader. I had her my first year at Grow Dat.
Oh,
She was.
Lovely.
where's her family from?
I can't remember because I don't want to say wrong, but it's like, I don't know. I know, but I don't know. Like,
Yeah, that's right.
I'm trying to remember. Like, I was about to say like El Salvador. Am I saying something right? Or am I wrong? I don't know. But they're like not from here.
Okay. No, I mean, I think that goes back to what I said earlier about like when you get people and you start communicating, you get to learn about other people's experiences, and that like the grass is much different on the other side. No matter what color it is, it's always different on the other side.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that just makes me think also about like the undoing the bias part of communication, which is like if I just go my whole life assuming things about people who I've never talked to or met or heard their story before, like I just wouldn't know. So instead, you know, like when we are making all the right accommodations, whether it's like translation or like just making recipes from different types of cuisine and culture, then like we're opening the door for conversation to happen so that we don't live in those biases, so that we can actually undo a lot of things that like I hear on the news, like about like, oh, well, people are this way. Like if I never met them, then, you know, like I could just go on what's going on in media. But when you sit and meet people and talk to them and like, you know, share stories, then it becomes
break down that stereotype, because that blanket statement of everyone from this place has to be like that. No, you know, yeah.
And when I went to college, I'm from here, but I went off to college in New Hampshire, and I didn't have those conversations that you were having with your peers whose families and traditions are from generally this area. Like they're not necessarily North American, but they are Caribbean, right? And I remember I was in a religious studies class. It was Religions of the Caribbean. They had a New Orleans section, and my teacher referred to New Orleans as the northernmost Caribbean city, which is like what historians call it. And then once we started those conversations, I realized like, oh, our dish is this and your dish is called that, and it's the same thing. Like, oh, the same people that built this city built your city in Guatemala, or your city in Belize, or your city in Puerto Rico. And it just became so clear that learning about other people's places, it's just we're way more similar than we are different. Yeah. I was way more similar to someone in San Juan, Puerto Rico than I ever was someone in New Hampshire. For sure.
So how can people get involved or support Grow Dat Farm?
Oh, well, absolutely on social media. So following us at growdatyouthfarm.org, whether Facebook or Instagram. And then, of course, visiting our website, growdatyouthfarm.org. And then, of course, in support of us, there are a couple of links that you can click on our website that give you a few different options, whether it's coming out to an event with us or donating, all of the things to just stay involved and stay with us.
Are there any upcoming events you guys have coming up that we should be on the lookout for?
We always have a History of the Land that we're planning. So, of course, based on the weather, we are an outdoor venue. So based on the weather, that might shift, but keeping informed with us, looking out for History of the Land workshops, looking out for Food for Thought workshops as well. So as it feels relevant, because there are a lot of different topics that we want to make sure to highlight as things are happening and like rapidly changing in our society every day. We want to be in response to things that are like, what do people want to talk about? How can we get community together to like form these solutions on a broader level? And like making sure that our young people are present. So just staying in the loop and keeping an eye out for either a History of the Land workshop or a Food for Thought.
Wonderful.
Well, we always like to do kind of like a fun question before we wrap up. So my question for you guys is most underrated vegetable and how do you like to serve it? Want to kick us off?
Trying to think.
You need a minute to think.
Yeah.
I got it. Sorry.
I can't wait to hear. Yeah.
The most underrated vegetable to me is spaghetti squash. And I like it baked, but like really soft. Like the outer need to be burnt, but the inside need to be really soft. And I eat it like spaghetti. Like throw the sauce on top. Like it's the noodles.
Okay.
Yum. How do you get it like burnt on the outside?
Well, not burnt, because like when you have it in the oven, it'll be facing one way, so it like just burn the top part anyway.
Gotcha.
But you don't eat the outside.
But you bake it.
Yeah, bake it.
Got you.
Underrated, I would say. Oh, there's so many that are flashing through my brain. I think most underrated vegetable would probably be zucchini. And the way that I like it prepared, I definitely like it like sauteed in a lot of other vegetables, but like I really will pick the zucchini out first. So whether literally very simple, just chopped up, just pan fried until it like starts to try to get translucent, and then just add in whatever seasoning is in the kitchen. So that's my favorite. And it's quick.
Simple, yeah.
Freaking simple.
Brenda, what you working with?
I'm freaky. I love a radish. I love a radish. I love it right out the dirt or right out the bag. I don't need anything on it. I will bite into it like an apple. I'm crazy.
That is wild.
I love it. I literally went to the Grand Canyon last year on vacation, and I had a bag of radishes. I was literally sitting on the edge of the Grand Canyon, like
Eating it like an apple.
Like grapes.
Like grapes.
Yeah.
I'm crazy. They're so spicy.
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna have to give this a try.
Take us back down. Take us back down to earth, please.
Well, I was just gonna say beets, and I like to put them in a kale salad.
Yum. With a little goat cheese on top.
I do Parmesan.
I love Parmesan.
Yeah, I'm a Parmesan. Fresh grated Parmesan. There's a restaurant that does the salad, and I had it once, and so I've been recreating it at home.
Yum. Did you guys say your handles for
At growdatyouthfarm.org.
at Grow Dat Youth Farm?
What?
Okay, great.
At Grow Dat Youth Farm. And that's it.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Well, thank you guys so much for coming. This was a really special talk. This was wonderful. I'm so glad to have you.
Yeah. Thank y'all so much for having us.
Thanks for listening to Missions Bayou, powered by Comfy Stone. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow the podcast wherever you listen. And if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe and drop a comment, letting us know your thoughts and who you'd like to hear from next. We'll see y'all next time.